Attorney General Josh Stein. I hope that this is working. It's my first Facebook Live by myself, so if there's any technical glitches, it will be because of me. Let's hope there aren't. I wanted to take a moment and speak to the people of North Carolina about what's going on with the coronavirus as it relates to the North Carolina Department of Justice. Obviously, first and foremost, this is a public health crisis, and our hearts go out. As of today, there are 452 North Carolinians who are hospitalized because of COVID-19, and we've lost 131 North Carolinians. And so there are families across North Carolina that are really in pain right now, and our heart goes out to those folks. There have also been hundreds of thousands of people who have lost their jobs in the last couple of weeks. And that creates a whole layer of economic stress on top of the fear that we all feel about trying to avoid becoming sick with this really treacherous virus. So we're trying to do as much as we can to protect people so that they've got enough to worry about. And we want to try to make it so that they don't have to worry about losing their money as well as their health. So I thought I would talk about the work we've been doing. We've been focused on consumer protection, fighting scams, price gouging. We've been trying to do everything we can to help people who've lost their job, their sources of income. And we've also tried to keep people safe in a couple of different ways. And so I thought I would talk about each of those in turn. Scams, we are redoubling our efforts to educate people so that they can avoid becoming victimized. Whenever there is something like this, and frankly, there's never been anything like it, but whenever there's something that's in the news all the time where people are afraid and desperate, that's when criminals come out to try to take advantage of people because we're all vulnerable. And so early on, we saw a lot of scams around miracle cures. We continue to see free home testing kits, pitches that we can come in and clean your air ducts and eliminate viruses and bacteria. More recently, we've seen scams centered around the recovery payments. There have been reports of people calling, getting phone calls saying, "Hi, I'm with the IRS. I need your bank account number in order to get you your payment." Obviously, the IRS does not call you for that information. The IRS, for the most part, already has that information. So we want to make sure that people understand that there are all these different types of scams that are going on. They come to you over your phone. They come by text. They come by email. They come through social media, even door to door. And folks just really need to be very suspicious. Your guard needs to be very high that when someone's pitching you something that sounds too good to be true, just understand that it is. If you have any question, please call my office. We have people who are happy to help you to let you know whether we think this is a scam we've heard about or whether it may be legitimate. 877-5-NO-SCAM, 877-5-NO-SCAM. We have specialists who can help you deal with whatever questions you have. On the price gouging front, the law was triggered a month ago when the governor declared the state of emergency. And what our law prohibits is any seller charging an unreasonably excessive price, and it's a subjective determination. It's not like 10% increase or 20% increase. It's when it's unreasonably excessive. So a lot of times you know it when you see it, or you think you know it when you see it. What we ask is if you see it, please file a complaint with our office and then we can investigate. So far, we have received over 1,400 complaints. About half of them deal with groceries, followed by masks, cleaning products, hand sanitizer, sort of all the things you might expect. File the complaint with our office. We can then investigate and determine whether price gouging occurred. We have a number of investigative demands that we have sent to sellers and retailers to get information from them. If they cannot convince us that their price increase was justified, then I will not hesitate to hold them accountable. We've done this in the past in prior states of emergency after Hurricanes Florence and Michael. We went after folks who were ripping off people in eastern North Carolina with tree removal, and I will not hesitate to do it in this instance as well. For people who are struggling and they've lost their sources of income, it's nobody's fault. We've all just been in this moment where the economy has frozen. And so I've tried to do everything I can, exercise whatever authority I have to help people, to give them a little space to deal with their financial issues. So one thing I do as the Attorney General is I collect debts that are owed to the state of North Carolina. It's the biggest corporate entity in North Carolina, so a lot of people owe money to the state. Well, we are not collecting on debts at the moment because I recognize folks need that extra bit of cash just in order to get food for their families or to pay their bills, not be kicked to the street. So we are suspending debt collections here. I also assisted the governor in an executive order that he issued that requires, that prohibits any utility, any water, gas, or power, electric utility from cutting off anyone's service for non-payment, because it is too important that people have clean water to wash their hands and a roof over their head when we're at stay at home and social distancing, that folks should not be without power, be without water, and the governor made that order. He also urged all lenders, whether it's to a homeowner or anybody, just give people space. If they can't meet their bill because they don't have income, don't report them to the credit reporting agency. Give them some time to till they can make their payment, and then help them. Don't issue penalties, late fees. Give them time, and then give them a payment plan over a course of many months where they can pay back what they owe you. People want to pay back their creditors. Folks simply do not have the income, the money right now to do that. So that's true of banks, and we think the same thing is true of landlords. When renters can't pay, we ask landlords to work with their tenants, not evict them. It's true of internet service providers and telephone companies. Really, the telephone is a critical infrastructure in this crisis. Folks need to have access to information. Kids need the internet in order to do schooling. We all need, many people are working at home. So we are urging the phone companies to give people 90 days, that if they can demonstrate that they're in financial hardship because of this crisis, give them 90 days. Don't cut off their service, and then work out a payment plan for 6 months before, 6 months beyond. And I'm actually putting together a national coalition of attorneys general to urge all these national phone companies and internet service providers, do right by your customers, help them out, give them some space so that they can get the information they need while they're down on their luck, and when they have their money, they'll pay you back. I've also been urging the federal government at every turn to do what it can do to help people. So I wrote the White House asking the president to allow people to access the healthcare exchange for the ACA. And if you've lost your job and lost your healthcare, you can go to the exchange and get health insurance. And I've been urging the federal government to do a better job promoting that truth to Americans. I asked the U.S. Department of Treasury, with these payments, the recovery payments that folks are getting, the $1,200 and $500 per kid, what we don't want, we want that money to go to help people, again, pay whatever bills they have, buy the groceries that they need to feed their families, get whatever medication they need from the drugstore. We do not want that money just taken out of their bank account by creditors whom the person owes money to. Yes, the creditors need to get paid, but that's not what this money is about. This money is about allowing people to survive and keep going. So I asked the Department of Treasury to do just that. I've urged the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which oversees credit reporting agencies, to go lenient on people's credit, understanding that this is a distressed time. I've also written letters to the U.S. Department of Education about people who have school loans they lose their job, they can't pay their loans. U.S. Department of Education needs to give people some breathing space. So we recognize that people are in financial straits that they've never experienced before, and we want to do everything we can to help people get to the other side without drowning. Finally, we keep people safe at the Department of Justice, and I want to thank the North Carolina Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Sherry Beasley. She and I sent out a joint letter urging all the local courts in North Carolina that have the capacity to do remote hearings, to open up and really facilitate remote hearings, particularly for people seeking domestic violence protective orders. We've actually seen crime go down during this crisis because folks are staying at home. But one crime that we've seen increase has been domestic violence. And we want to make sure that nobody should live in fear, and anybody who is in fear to be able to go to the courts and get whatever protection they need. There are services available. If you are at home and you live in fear, there's services, and I'll try to get the phone number and put it on my Facebook page. If you are having mental health issues and feeling depressed or even suicidal, there are phone numbers you can call there. We truly want people in this very stressful time to not go into a deep hole, but rather to realize you're not alone and that there are other people out there who really want what's best for you to happen. Another thing that we did is, because kids are spending more time on social media than ever before, we want them on social media because that means they're not with their friends. They're social distancing from their friends. They're doing it through social media. And also we want them online because that's where their lessons are now that they're distance learning. And so we have some tips on the web page for parents about things they can do to protect their kids while they're on the internet, so that they don't run into the dark part of the internet. All of this information, all of these tips are on our website, which is ncdoj.gov, ncdoj.gov/COVID-19, /COVID-19. So ncdoj.gov/COVID-19. And so that's a report on what we have been doing at the Department of Justice. And what I'd love to do is see if folks have any questions. And so I'm looking at the comments. And I'm seeing a lot of commentary about different issues, and want to see if there are any questions. Well, in any event, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching. If you do have questions, you can leave some comments, and we'll try to get to them. And just know that you're not alone, that everybody is in this together. We all want to get to the other side. The one thing that we can do to get to the other side quicker is to stay at home right now. The only way the virus can transmit is from person to person. And if we're at home, not interacting, and when we have to go out, making sure that we keep that safe social distance, that we're constantly washing hands and wearing masks, we will dramatically reduce the transmission of this virus, and it will enable us to get to the other side as quickly as possible. And we will get there, and we'll get there together. Thank you all very much for watching.